Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a serial entrepreneur who's an expert in e-commerce and marketing. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I turned that side of my brain off, and I keep saying to myself, just do chicken right, Jeff. Just do chicken right. My next guest is a bona fide serial entrepreneur. Chris Picou is in the studio. He's CEO of Lido Labs, and you were telling me just before the show, you started like a dozen companies.
I lose count.
He started 3 just during the show opening.
Let's say I have a special relationship with failure. Yeah, that's the truth.
Okay, so we talked about e-commerce and marketing. Tell us about Lido Labs.
So Lido Labs, as it sits today, is the parent company or the home office that kind of runs all of the different ins and outs of our businesses, whether they're in e-commerce or on the lead gen side or in the marketing side of things that we do. And so it was also the entity that we started originally 11 years ago when we went into lead generation for education and for finance and for credit repair and things like that we were doing.
Well, and I like the entrepreneur journey where you're getting leads for other companies and you say to yourself, well, why don't I just start a few companies and start leads for myself?
It's true. Like I woke up one day and I was like, I'm generating all of this revenue, I'm generating all of this data, and we're moving it, and other companies are building their products, and we're helping them be successful. And I actually talked to somebody about evaluation, and like they were just like, well, you realize you're the business, and you're only as good as the leads that you generated last month, right? And so I started thinking, like, I really need to do something that's going to build some value that will have, some substance to it, so that at some point I'm going to retire.
Sure.
And I want to have something that has value that I can pass on to my kids and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. We're going to pull up the website, and as we scroll down the website, I want to call your attention to several of the companies that he's focused on right now. And we're going to drill down deep on each one of them. But everything from concealed carry to service dogs. How do these new ideas come to you?
Honestly, these niche categories are really about finding a need that's very specific to a very specific audience. I think a lot of times, we start companies and we try to shoot from the hip. I've started lots of those, right? And ultimately, what really gains momentum is whenever you're trying to see somebody and say, I'm going to meet that need. And quite frankly, in the service dog space, there's a need because there's people that are, trying to, pay the rent, and there's a lot of great apartment communities and things like that out there that charge a lot of money for pet rent and things like that. And this is kind of a way for a dog that is an emotional support animal or a psychiatric service animal for a veteran or for somebody who's on a fixed income and those sorts of things to be able to kind of stand up and say, okay, this dog is actually providing something for me. We've got so many mental health issues in the world today.
Sure.
This has become a very big issue. And a lot of folks have to give dogs to pounds because they can't afford the pet rent or they can't afford the pet deposit. And this just gives them an opportunity to solve that problem, to have their animal with them in their, where they live, and to be able to deal with that mental health issue that they may have in a more holistic way.
And you've got a lot of raving fans who have given some great testimonies. Let's go ahead and roll one of them.
My name is Lindsay, and I suffer from chronic anxiety and have an emotional support dog. He's a golden doodle, and his name is Enzo. I found some information about American Service Pets online. Was just able to go to their website where they have a free questionnaire. I filled out the information, and they matched me with a licensed healthcare professional who reviewed my information. And before I knew it, I had an ESA letter sent to me in hand so I could present it to our new landlord to be able to have a stress-free situation moving in with my pet, not having to pay the fees, and knowing that my anxiety could be managed just as it always had been.
And you mentioned that this is growing by leaps and bounds just because of the global anxiety pandemic.
It is, and what people don't realize is, to train an actual service animal, to hire somebody to do that, it's going to cost you $20,000 to $40,000, and you're going to have to be without your dog for a period of time while he goes through the training. And a lot of people just don't have that kind of money. A lot of veterans don't have that kind of money, and they don't have that kind of time, right? And so what we've been able to do with American Service Pets is not only to be able to bring a network of psychologists that are going to, look at the different scenarios online and make determinations whether somebody is approved for that or not, but we also have brought in a training element as well to American Service Pets so that people can train their service animals at home on tasks that will help aid them with the disabilities that they have. So we've kind of tried to solve a lot of problems into this one roof here. It's really worked out really well.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Concealed Coalition. We're going to pull up the website and scroll down the website. What was the nucleus of the idea for this?
Oh my gosh. Well, this goes back to my roots. I grew up in Louisiana, and I have a dad who was a telephone man, and he was a manly man, and so he had a lot of guns around the house whenever I was younger. And I've never been a gun guy. I'm more of the marketing guy. I'm kind of I like the city, right? My dad's a country guy. But I saw my dad, he retired from the telephone company. He really didn't have a whole lot of money and was living on fixed income. And so I saw an opportunity to build a product that would allow him to put some money in his pocket. My goal was to make my dad a millionaire. And so I launched Concealed Coalition back in 2017, and he was my trainer, my online trainer. We ran a Virginia non-resident program, and we ran ads across the internet in 27 states, and we were able to reach that goal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really what really caused me to want to do it. But I also saw just an underserved niche of folks that were not able to take a weekend off to go take a training class, and they weren't able to do the things that you needed to do to meet state criteria. And so this was kind of one of those ways that we kind of got started in that space.
And I follow the news quite a bit, and gun sales are up. I mean, business must be really good on this side.
It's crazy. I wish I could change the way people work, but you can't. It's kind of hard to do that, right? If you look at my Google stats, you'll see that every time there is social unrest and every time there is a war gets announced or something's happened, not even in this country, there's this peak, this spike for concealed carry permit, and people are looking for it after the fact, right? I wish I could get people ahead of the game and get them into a good place where they can be safe and understand the value of de-escalation and situational awareness and all of these things that are very important as part of that training. But yeah, it's business is going very well, and we're doing a lot of training. We do training here at Shields in the Colony. We do training at Bass Pro Shops, and several locations across the United States.
Okay, now let's talk about the media company, Rogue Rabbit Media, which I love the name. Where'd you come up with Rogue Rabbit?
A little different, right?
Yeah, it is.
So what I really wanted to do was to be able to not just, every time I wanted to do something that brought value, to have to build a company or come up with products and that sort of thing. And so I have a real good friend, Justin Mean, who is an absolute great creator. And so I partnered with him. I said, man, come in, let's start this company together and let's build this thing out where we can take other folks that have ideas and companies that ultimately are doing 1 to 3 million, and we can help them scale to that 10x number that we've been able to do some of the stuff with what we've done. And it's been going really well. It's rather new from a company standpoint. We've only been in it for a couple of years now, but we're very selective with the folks that we work with because we want to make sure we can bring value. But it's kind of like all of the things that I've learned about business and the tracking and the marketing stuff with all the things he understands about creative. It's a great dynamic duo.
And he's a video genius. There's countless videos on your YouTube channel, but let's go ahead and roll one.
We interrupt your scheduled programming to bring you this breaking news.
The U.S. is now reporting more COVID-19 deaths than anywhere else.
This is treason. We are on a path to possible civil war.
The mayor refuses federal help.
1 million people have died.
3 million have now lost their jobs.
Crowd setting the city on fire.
Turned violent.
There's never been a better time to protect the things that matter most. Learn more at concealedcarrytexas.com.
And how cool is it that you have like an in-house video department to make videos on your own companies?
It's great. It's great. And we use these guys, like they're amazing. I mean, I can't tell you. And the talent we have that helps us with the training piece of it and everything. It's just, we're very blessed. But putting this stuff together, making this curriculum, I think it's really, and we put it out, a lot of it goes out on free on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So, but we've got so many great reviews and people have just been, helped tremendously by a lot of the content.
I don't know about you, but I always learn more from the failures than from the successes. And so in your storied career, what are some failures? What are some lessons that you could pass along to young entrepreneurs?
Like I said earlier, I have a special relationship with failure. I definitely can tell you that one of the things that I have learned in business is that it's not good to go 100 miles an hour in first gear. When I went and took my driving test, I was 16th birthday, right? I'm in Louisiana. I remember it's in April 3rd, right? And I'm sitting in the car and the guy is standing in front of me. I just passed the written part, right? The guy's standing in front of me and I'm in my dad's 1988 Toyota Corolla wagon. And he says, start the engine and turn on your blinker. And so I started the engine. I'm so nervous, right? I start the engine and I didn't put my foot on the clutch and it was in gear. And so it jumps forward, it hits the guy, and I immediately wouldn't get in the car with me at that point, right? I got failed my driving test. I mean, you hear about people that have failed their driving tests on the written side, but they always pass. I failed that side, right? And it really is a reminder of my entrepreneurial journey.
Chris Ubert here, by the way. Well, okay, we have about a minute left. Final thoughts. What would you like to
final
leave?
thoughts really is just ultimately, you got to come out of the gate. And you gotta go hard, and you gotta understand that you can't do it all by yourself, right? So second gear in my mind is you gotta have a team. It takes a team to get it done. Third thing is you gotta have a system. Fourth thing is you gotta have a community that you're building. And if you wanna make an impact, which is kind of the overdrive of the fifth gear, in my mind, if you wanna do that, you really have to connect back with yourself, not your ego, but your true self. Because your job as an entrepreneur really is an artist. It's getting the things that are inside of you that nobody has seen yet out into the world so that they can make a difference. And that's kind of the point that I'm at in my life right now.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with the world. We're going to end with the website, which is lidolabs.com. Chris, thanks for coming on. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.